Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day. Welcome to Wednesday's live stream. I'm really pumped that you're here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. My name is Tyler. I'm going to be navigating you through the wild world of day trading futures. And we're going to be talking about the market, futures, ICT concepts, how the market's responding. It's been crazy. It's been a very frustrating past 2 weeks for me, and that goes in line with our affirmation today. I'm really excited about our affirmation. I've personally been using it myself. I think it's a really good one, so I'm excited to share that here this morning. But if you're watching for the first time, I'm super pumped that you're here. We're gonna be going over a bunch of different stuff. The market's looking very clean today. I'm very, very grateful for how the market's looking so far. So let's go ahead and get started. Lastly, before we pray, you can use the codes DTJ. DTJ will give you anywhere from 30 to 50% off. Apex did end their 80% off sale as of last night. So you can get anywhere from 30 to 50% off. Let me actually switch that out a little bit. There we go. And you can use those codes if you wanted to take your trading to the next level and add a little bit of risk into your trading. And let's go ahead and open in prayer. Father, we honor you this morning. We thank you for the opportunity we have to trade, Lord. We honor you in our trading, honor you in our lives, Father. I thank you that no matter the outcome, you are still on the throne. You are still victorious. And Father, I thank you that we are saved by your grace, by what your Son did on the cross. So Father, today, as we look at the markets, Father, I pray for extreme patience to wait for the best of the best setups. And Lord, I pray that you bless everyone here on the stream, that they would see increase in their own trading, in their own personal lives, in their personal walk with you. In Jesus' name, and everyone said, amen. All right, folks, good morning. Jeff, how you doing? Matthew, what's up, my friend? Nicolo Bruno, what's up? How you doing? Mo, good morning. Jeff, John, Wealthwise Tips, how you doing? Andrew, how you doing? Ricardo, how you doing, my friend? Violet, good morning. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the market and see what we got going on. I did a pre-market trade. I have been extremely frustrated with my performance as of late. I'm sure you've probably at some point rolled your eyes on the other side of the screen going, oh my gosh, it's another loss. And it's been very burdensome to some degree. So I saw the market set up. It was amazing. And I took the trade. And it was beautiful. We ended up taking a short. And I quadrupled my size, if I'm honest with you, because that's how good it looked. And we're gonna go over that trade. I'm gonna just show you here what my trade outline was. Went short right there, and I targeted targeted equilibrium. So I got 42 points out of that. So we're going to be going over that, and we're going to talk about the market and see what we're looking at here. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start from a higher time frame, and that is the main thing that I want to focus on today is higher time frame structure, because that was the reason I took the trade. You can look at this right here. Here is yesterday's swing high and swing low. We marked our high and our low already. Okay. Hang on. I'm going to switch accounts because I'm going to be trading with a different account today. So we've already marked a previous day high and previous day low. Now, what do you notice about yesterday? Very important to understand. Yesterday, we've had green, 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 green. And what did we do yesterday? We wick higher, sweep the highs, and close inside the range. And I'm not talking about close inside the range green like we did right here. I'm talking close inside the range red, black, like we did here. So I'm already looking at there's a potential reversal. We've already ran the previous day low. So we could see either consolidation in this range, or we could see us push to the final target would be the low side of this level right there. And that could be a potential target. Let me mark that out so we can see that. So already, from just a higher time frame perspective, it's easier to be bearish than it is to be bullish. Could we still be bullish? Sure. But if you want to do some analysis, take a look at this day right here. This day is a great example of how we created a fair value gap right here. And then we dropped down into it in the pre-market. And then after the pre-market at the open, we shot back up. And the trade was long. Well, we don't have a fair value gap that we're tapping into. We've tapped this fair value gap right here. But liquidity is down here. So my interest level, if I'm looking for a draw on liquidity, is going to be way down here. Now there's going to be some lower hanging fruit objectives that we can take, that we can target, and that's probably the wise decision. But this low right down here is the one I'm referring to. But before we are going to see that happen, before we're going to be able to take a trade to that downside, we are going to have to close below this hourly fair value gap. This hourly fair value gap probably will be closed. Why do I say that? Because on a hourly perspective, or on a 4-hour perspective, I just deleted this 4-hour fair value gap that was sitting right here. And that 4-hour fair value gap, we've already closed below on the 4-hour time frame. Now, the reason I took my trade was primarily because of this sweep of liquidity. We closed lower, and then we began to move higher, and what did we sweep? We swept this 4-hour swing high and a 15-minute swing high, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But that's what we ran into, and we respected it. So when we started selling off, it gave me extreme confidence to oversize and actually take the trade, and it played out nicely. So what do we have else do we got going on? So we have a current close of a 4-hour fair value gap. We're in an hourly SIBI right now, and we're waiting for price to move lower. When we look at order blocks, this big giant green candle is a order block, an hourly order block, and look how price, all these up close candles have respected this order block right here. We don't have any new created order blocks as of right now. All of this is just semi-consolidation. But we can find out where we're going to go by dropping to a lower time frame. From a lower time frame perspective, from the 15-minute, here is that 4-hour swing high that I referenced before. That 4-hour swing high swept these highs, and it went into this 15-minute order block right here, the hourly SIBI right here, and a 15-minute SIBI right here. So we hit several different confluences and began a sell-off. We also had a 5-minute change in state of delivery. I went short right around the 5-minute change in state of delivery right here. This is the candle that hit all the levels. So once we close below that, I got the green light to look for a breaker, inversion, or something like that to the downside. And you can see I ended up taking that right there. Our stop was right below the highs, and our target was the midpoint of this low to this high. So now where do we go from here? Well, we're in our last 15-minute SIBI right here. We'll see if it wants to close below that here shortly. We got 3 minutes till the market opens. Dropping down to the 5-minute time frame, we have a breaker here, a low high, lower low. and price is basically respecting that. So if price is clean, we'll look at taking a trade. If price is not going to be clean, I will not be taking a trade. We got some liquidity over here. I like all of these. We just created these yesterday though, or on Monday. And this was at 8 a.m. and this was 9:30. So I want to mark out 9:30 here. 9:30 from Monday, I would mark out because that could be a point of a reaction of some kind, whether it pushes through it or bounces off it. We want to watch it. Because right below that 9:30 is the last 1 minute fair value gap before we start hitting just a range of, or a 5 minute fair value gap where we start hitting a range of liquidity. So we're going to mark that out too. All right. We got 1 minute till the market opens. Let's drop down to the 1 minute time frame. We currently have a premium opening range gap that's sitting way over here. But I would say we are in a market maker sell model, and I like the idea of it continuing lower. So because of that, I might not participate in the opening range model as of this morning. There is the open, a little push higher immediately. The 930 model did play out, and I don't tell people whether I'm taking it or not. I tell you based on the structure, but I ended up taking that anyway, just for 10 handles on that trade. It's not something that I put on the screen. I don't think I've ever put the 930 model on the screen. So now we got a lot of color here. I don't like all this color. I don't like all the color. I want to take the color off. So let's go ahead and remove the color that we don't need right now. We've closed below the 4 hour. So let's just remember that we are bearish on a 4 hour time frame. That's very important for us to know. We'll see how we close over the long term, but then we have the daily fair value gap all in here. We're going to go ahead and remove that. We're just going to slide that bad boy over. So we don't have to really focus on that. All right, I think we got our higher time frame perspective, our higher time frame narrative that we've addressed. Now it's a matter of seeing how price wants to play. Let's go ahead and mark out 930 here. I'm not interested in a long. It could absolutely retrace. There's a lot of potential opportunity for it to retrace here. But because of yesterday's close, specifically how we closed yesterday, is why I would rather see a move to the downside, not to the upside. Wasn't yesterday frustrating, guys? Yesterday we waited and all of this. That I learned a hard lesson yesterday. All I had to do was wait for right here. And then the market was amazing. I took a short here yesterday, and I took a short here yesterday. I didn't take all of that. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived by the nice long lines here. I did scalp trades because I wasn't in front of my computer. So 10, 20 handle trades. I took in here. There's a breaker there. There's a manipulation with a continuation to the downside, running all this low resistance liquidity. This is the low resistance liquidity. This was the high resistance, but it creates low resistance opportunities. So yesterday was quite the spectacle. We've ran up to the midpoint of the opening range gap, and we've hit the breaker. Okay, just take note of that. That's the 5-minute change in state of delivery that I went short on. Let's jump up to the 30-minute. Let's see if we have any sweeps of liquidity. Here's our 30-minute time frame selling off here, and we don't have any sweep of liquidity as of yet. Looking at the hourly, we have a sweep of liquidity here on the hourly. We'll see how this closes in the next 30 minutes, but we have some time. We do have some time. All right, let's jump into the chat and let's say hello. Robbie, how are you doing? Yeah, Mo, yesterday was insane. And I think the biggest lessons, the hardest lesson that I'm having to learn is learning not to take a trade in that mess. I took 2 trades in that. Was that Wednesday? I'm making sure I'm on the right time frame. Today's Thursday, right? Yeah. And all I had to do is wait for the 1 afternoon, and we had large moves. But everything here was messy. If we go over here, 15-minute. Yeah, it was just nasty. Specifically right here. No, where am I? Why does the chart look so foreign to me? Here we go. Tuesday. All in this. Just nasty. Jay Hong, good morning. 30-minute breaker looks like it's about to pump this big. Are we on the 30-minute? Here's the thing. Yes, I see that. But do you want to go against that, a daily time frame that you had a daily candle close, sweep the high and close bearish? I don't. This is when I started seeing major success, let me rephrase it. Once I started seeing moderate success, major, I would say I'm not there yet. I want a lot more for me. I started seeing moderate success when I started identifying higher time frame candle closes and saying, okay, based on this, price looks as if it wants to run for the next point of liquidity. Well, it did right here. So it ran its low. The question now is, does it want to go lower? It could say we ran liquidity and we want to retrace. Yes, that's an option. But when you say pump, I'm thinking like we're running to the highs. So that would be my concern here. And we'll also know based on how this closes in 22 minutes. If we still close under this 4-hour fair value gap or 4-hour swing high, then the whole narrative to the downside still potentially is in play. Because I would consider that a sweep of liquidity like the trade that I took. Now looking at the hourly, same concept here. We swept the highs. We closed inside but ran the low, so it really depends on how we close in the next basically 20 minutes. Now we could pump higher, absolutely. But for me to take a trade here, I would need to see a break of this, and then I would need to see it come back down and support this from that 30-minute, or we could even go the 15-minute time frame. So we would still use that 4-hour swing high as our point of equilibrium, I would say, where we have our high, low, higher high. Do we find support when we come back down? And that's going to take, if we're considering to doing on this on the 15 or 30-minute time frame, that's going to take time. That's going to take time. Imagine, just think about how long it took to form this. How long that took to form. Why can't I click it? Oh, it's because I'm not moving it. No, that's why. It took 3 hours and 30 minutes to create both of these lows here. So when we're looking at higher time frames, it just takes a lot longer. So you could be correct, but your biggest advantage is being patient. And that is the area that I have this past 2 weeks. I would, when I look at me, in my trading, I believe I've failed a lot on being patient. Yes, you're seeing me on stream only taking 2 or 3 trades, but still, the trades that I took weren't the A+ trades that, yes, I liked it. It looked good at the moment, but I was trading inside the crap. I was trading inside of this right here. So, Sonny, good morning. Paulo, good morning. Powell, good morning. I don't trade Forex, Sparky, sorry. Tab, good morning. Wilhelm. Kingdom Warrior. Good morning. Charles, what's up, my friend? Ecclesia. Mark. Redeemed One. Wendy. Ricardo. Andrew. How you doing? What's up, Mikes? Dominique. All right. Let's go ahead, and I got 5 minutes before I got the green light to trade anyway, and right now we're consolidating. We'll go ahead and also mark out our first presented fair value gap right there. So let's go ahead and mark that. There's our first presented fair value gap. And so far it's been respecting the premium portion of that first presented fair value gap. Today's affirmation is a good one. Let me pull it up here. And if you like it, you can go on to X and hit the like button on there. I would greatly appreciate it. I think I put the wrong one on there, but that's okay. It's still the one I want. Daily affirmation for 5/21. I don't fight with fleshly weapons. I trade with spiritual authority. My battles aren't against price action. They are against doubt, fear, and pride. I take every thought captive and demolish anything that rises against truth. This is based on 2 Corinthians 10:4. The weapons we fight are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. This one here, folks, is legit. We are not fighting against price action. We have to adapt to price action. That's the truth. Price action is not going to change for you. We have to adapt to price action and adjust our strategy. What we fight against and what we stand against is fear, doubt, and pride creeping in to manipulate us. And when we recognize those things, we can reject them and say, no, I know the truth. I have patience in Christ. No, I'm not going to be greedy. I receive what the Father has given me. That is our approach when we look at trading. All right. If we're going to look for price to move, if it's going to move, we'll see if it wants to run up to the previous day equilibrium. I'm not going to be bullish unless we really find strength around that area to move higher. I'd rather see it sweep some liquidity up here. I mean, it could sweep all of this. It could come all the way back up to this breaker. That's true. If we did do our job and re-entered into this daily fair value gap, and now we're going to move higher, that's okay. I'm just going to need confirmation for that. I'm willing to adjust and adapt my position to look at that. Gavel, good morning. JR, good morning. I will go over in detail my trade that I took in the AM or in the pre-market. Carlos, good morning. All right, so 15-minute candle closed really bullish inside of this fair value gap here. We did not and probably are not going to close below this hourly fair value gap. Right now we are in premium when we look at discount to premium of this swing high. If we're going to use the breaker in this buy side as our potential draw on liquidity, this liquidity up here, low resistance liquidity that was formed over the past few days, then what we need to do is look at where we are in the range, and we are right around that midpoint. Now, I don't think we're going to get a previous day high break. I don't think we're going to get a double break day. We already had a single break day where we ran the lows already of the previous day. So I'm looking at the market in that context. Also, where's London high? We've already ran London high, and we already ran London low. So if we go to regular trading hours, we can see where our liquidity is from regular trading hours. Our liquidity is sitting at these highs right here. This is 4 p.m. yesterday. This is 1 p.m. So potentially, if we are going to reach for liquidity and it's looking, as the algorithm looks backwards, it looks back in time, it's going to look at the previous day, knowing we already ran London session, we could identify Asia session, but the previous day session, PM session, would be right here. And so that does align with that breaker and where these swing highs are at. So I like that. Asia high is sitting right here. Asia high is after 8 p.m. We haven't had a single retracement outside of the initial burst higher, so there really hasn't been an entry for us. We want to take a trade off of an entry. This would have been the only opportunity if you were really bullish, and I wasn't at that point because we ran right into the breaker that I went short on. And this is the only other fair value gap, and we have one bearish candle that just is right inside of this chart or this fair value gap. So we don't have any major retracements. We have some nice liquidity points right here. So there is an opportunity for you to jump onto the momentum that we're seeing. But where do you want to get in at? That's the question. That's the hardest part to taking these momentum trades. And I would say if I was to identify a location, I would say it would have to be this fair value gap right here. It would have to be this fair value gap. Coming down into this fair value gap and then considering a long from there would be my only option. It also would be that breaker, the 10 or the 30-minute breaker that, who mentioned? Somebody mentioned that. Bruno, maybe? Also, ES has not swept its highs. It's 4-hour swing high. So it just swept it right. It's about to sweep it right now. It's about to sweep all of these equal highs right here. So that's very intriguing to see how ES reacts to sweeping those equal highs. It'd be nice to see it. If I was to play along, it would need to go something like this and then come back down, find support, and then move higher. So we just ran all of the most of the PM set or overnight session. And we still have Asia high sitting up here and midpoint sitting right there. All right, so ES just ran those equal highs. I'm expecting a retracement here. Ty, why, what, FVG? I don't know what you're talking in regards to. Good morning, Tony. ES has not broken the London high. Yep. I think what we just marked was the London high, though. those equal highs. Yeah, that was, we'll call that equal, and we'll call that London. London high. So now that ES ran London high, let's see how price reacts. All right, Charles, let's see it do it. Let's see it. Let's do it. I don't think it was that one. I think it was this one. That's the one I won. Four-hour fair value gap on ES. The upside looks juicy. I'm not completely sold on it. It's going to be a big factor on how we close on the 4-hour here with the sweep of London highs. Do we inverse that 4-hour fair value gap in the next 5 minutes? It's a good question, T, and we'll go over that on my chart when I go over my trade. There's not a single fair value gap in all of this price action here. So it could be pretty fast moving. There was no fair value gap in any of this price action. You could have done it. You could have taken a long off the order block, but I would have been concerned about ES hitting the London high. TJK, are you still here? There's 3 on the screen. It depends on depends how long you've been trading. I don't want to go through the whole spiel unless you're here. If you're still here, give me a thumbs up, TJK, and I'll go over some of the prop firm options. Can we reverse from equal highs? Absolutely. I'm not as concerned about the equal highs as I am about where does this candle close. Because if the candle closes inside here, we could still go higher, but we could get a much deeper retracement. And it looks like that's what's going to happen, is we're closing inside the range. NQ is going to be closing above the, let me look here, 4 hour, does NQ? NQ doesn't have a fair value gap. Here's the 4 hour. And then here's the 4 hour here. So it looks like we're just going to wick this. How we go, we could still go up from here, but it's just not as strong as I was thinking, or as strong as it potentially could be. We wicked up into this order block here, retracing all of the gains we got. That to me is like a nice little sign for a potential breaker play to the downside. All right, so now what we're watching, does this 4 hour sweep this high and stay inside that 4 hour fair value gap? It could sweep the high, it doesn't have to. We do have a sweep of liquidity down here, so if we're going to see a bullish reversal on the 4 hour, we could look for a 15-minute fair value gap on this price action higher, which would be basically this giant candle there. Anywhere inside of here it could come and then move up higher. So that's too big. We really can't do an analysis off that. Hourly, we swept higher. We could do it based on a 5-minute here. So we have a 5-minute here and a 5-minute down here. I like it coming down to the first presented fair value gap. I really would like that. Nope. It wants to do its crazy stuff, huh? All right, so it swept in that candle at 9:01. It swept previous day midpoint. It came just short of Asia highs. We'll see how it, we'll see what it wants to do here. But I'm not going to take a trade off that. You can't take a trade off that. I don't think that was news. It could have been Trump talking or Trump putting something out. We'll jump to the news here and see if there's anything. I don't see anything. Yeah, that's what I already used that, but there's no news for today on there, so. X auto scrub. Now, the only way I'm looking and will consider going long is if we drop down into, I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to remove this 15-minute, is if we drop down into this 15-minute fair value gap. So I would want to see price come into this and then consider a long. But I'm not taking a long as soon as we come into this level. It's going to drop here, and then I'm going to look for my breaker to go long. Okay, because keep in mind, we still could drop, right? So you can't just take a falling knife. You don't want to do that. So that's kind of how I would approach taking it long, is I want it to come back down into this 15-minute fair value gap, into this 4-hour swing high, which is a breaker, and I want it to respect the upper portion of the 15-minute fair value gap. And quite honestly, I would love for it to respect this 5-minute fair value gap, that 5-minute fair value gap as well. So these overlapping confluences are signals to me to say, all right, if we respect this portion of the 15-minute and the 5-minute BISI, which overlaps with the breaker, then I would consider looking for my model to go long, right? That's what gives you the confidence. It's the overlapping confluences that tell you where price potentially could go. Until then, we have to sit on our hands and wait. Because where is it going to go? I mean, yes, anybody could put in the chat long. But where are you going to get in at? Where are you going to get in that's going to have a chance of protecting your stop loss? Because even if it comes back down to the 5-minute, it could slice through it like butter and go all the way down to this breaker in the first presented fair value gap right down here. So we just have to wait. We also could be reaching up for the Asia highs, and we could see a reversal here because of this candle taking all the liquidity and everybody thinking that this is a good place to put your stops. It could run all the way back up here and then come back down here. That's an option as well. We still have more liquidity to go above that. So it's just a matter of being patient. Serious FOMO. 100% Jared. But that is the thing, man. I know. I'm 100% confident that if I can't get over having FOMO or you can try this one. I don't know if it works or not. I'm 100% confident that if you can't overcome that psychology, you will never take your trading to the next level. I'm so confident in that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that I manage my risk appropriately and I remind myself that there's always going to be another trade. Because when you miss a trade, how do you handle the next trade? Is the next trade impulsive? Is the next trade a crap trade? Is the next trade a gamble? Do you oversize on that trade? Is it revenge, trying to get back what you should have had? How you handle the next trade after having FOMO says so much about your growth as a trader. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect every time, but I can tell you that I've had successes and I've had whopping failures. And it is a daily grind of making sure your mind is right and focused on what your plan is. So if I said my plan is the only way I'm interested in taking the long is if we come back down into here, that means I have to be okay with it going like this and then running to the moon and not taking a trade. That's part of it. But even when I'm looking at this price action here on the 1 minute time frame on my other screen, there's not a single fair value gap here. There's no fair value gap that I want to go long in. And all I have to do is go like this. All I have to do is go backwards and look at this price action and remind myself how much trading in this hurts. We had one winner and two losers, I think. One winner, two losers? I think it was something like that. No, we had two winners. I took the 930 model, it played out. I took a partial on another trade, and then it got stopped out at break even. And then we took a loss on this inversion to the downside right here. Oh, yeah, two losses. And then we tried to take a long right here. And what eventually happened? Look, it consolidated. It did go long, but then it did exactly what I wanted it to do. It just delayed the time on when it wanted to do it. I wanted it to go down. Look it. I wanted it to hit. This isn't the here, let me actually mark it. It went down to equilibrium, the midpoint of yesterday's range or the previous day's range. And that was, I'm going to mark it out. Where was it? There it is. Right here. I wanted it to hit the midpoint of yesterday's range right here. And that's exactly what it did. It went it aggressively and then it went back up the other direction. But I was impatient and I traded in here. We just can't do that. Yeah, that PM move was really nice. I mean, imagine two scenarios. First scenario is you take 3 trades, 5 trades, 10 trades in the AM session. You get beat up, you're in drawdown, and now you're just on edge. And then you go into the PM session and you're like, oh man, look at that move. I want to take some. But because you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses and a couple wins, you don't have the conviction to let the trade play out, and you continue to pull off your trade, and then you take small wins, and then you get a small paper cut. You take another small win, you get another paper cut because you're trying to play the whole move down. Or imagine this second scenario, sitting on your hands because you've identified that the market's choppy. You've identified that the probability of me taking this inversion to the downside, which is a momentum type style play, is probably unlikely, which is what I did exactly. You also identify that the conditions aren't good for it to go long because we still haven't retraced to a proper retracement level before it goes long. And then you decide to sit on your hands, you wait till the PM session, you see the perfect setup, you go short, and you take a 50-point move. There's no question on which one we would want to do. Then why can't we wait? I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself here, folks, because I find myself taking those stupid trades. I do it. Now, I might manage my risk a little bit better than I did years ago, but still, it irks me to no end on not having sufficient patience. If you're bullish and you don't think it's going to come back down to the level that I outlined, this is your aggressive long. But patience is everything. And I want to be significantly more patient in my trading. That means less trades. That means a boring live stream at times. When the market's cooking in the AM session, boy oh boy, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But the past 2 weeks have been horrid price action in the AM session. Can I sit and not take a trade all day? I mean, today I've already taken trades. Granted, they were great. It was a great setup. But that's, to me, is what it's going to take to get to the next level. What's up, Maria? How you doing? And that's right. The Lord will provide a setup. Meaning, if we are patient and we can wait, there will be something that shows up. It may not be today, but there will be something. But when you listen to traders that are high-end, high-leveraged, high-risk traders, they all have this attribute of patience. And it's ours for the taking, folks. We just are in a society that demands everything immediately. I want it now, today. I want to take this course and expect by in 3 weeks that I'm going to be making 5 figures daily. It just doesn't happen that way. And I don't, even for my course, links in the description. You can be a part of the Discord, be part of the community. But if you're thinking that you can take this course and you're going to be proficient and start making money right away, don't buy the course, because it won't happen. Don't buy anybody's course that promises you you're going to start making money like that after you take their course, because it's not true. If anything, you could skip all of it. Focus on your patience. Take what I'm saying right now and aggressively work on your patience. Working on taking only the A+ type trades, and you'll be way further than most people. What value does the course have then? It gives you the value on understanding market structure. It helps you put together the language of ICT, because I don't go over every detail here and it's all organized over there. And it gives you it gets you connected to our Discord community. So if you are interested, you can join that, but too many people think that they're going to take a course and then it's going to be the magic solution to their problem. It will be part of the solution, but not the solution. Think of a wheel with spokes. You have a wheel and all the spokes that support the wheel all the way around. The trading course is 1 or 2 spokes. There's so many other things that go into trading, and a majority of it is your psychology. Now, do I talk about psychology in there? Yes. So that's another spoke. So there's a few spokes that it will give you. But to be a well-rounded trader that's profitable and sees success, it takes time. It takes experience. It takes chart time. You got to sit in front of the charts for hours. Hours. For real, hours. Because you need to be able to say to yourself, you need to be able to identify, wow, look at this market structure. Man, I really struggled in that. I don't like that. Maybe we shouldn't trade in this crap. And then you're going to make the mistake a couple weeks later or a week later or the next day, and you're going to go, oh, wait, I was trading and it looks just like it did yesterday. I shouldn't have taken those trades. Now, today doesn't look like that, but I will tell you that I like the idea of a short. It looks really good. Not the long. ES is looking heavy on the hourly. Big wick, it's leaving. So we want to see over the next 40 minutes price move aggressively lower. On the 15-minute, all the bodies are staying below even this 15-minute fair value gap right here. This 30-minute, we'll see where in the next 10 minutes, we'll see where this 10-minute candle closes. See if it closes here. If it does, we could get a retracement here and a potential continuation to the downside. I mean, it just looks better for a downside move considering how much we've gone higher. But I will play a upside. If the market's utterly bullish, I will take that trade. Right? This is not the trade I'm going to take. I'd want to see it come down, find support here, and then move higher. $21,193. Oh yeah, look at that. You're looking at 930. 5-minute fair value gap. Looking good. I would love that. I think it has the potential for that. And if I'm wrong, well, guess what? I'm not going to take a trade here. So I keep my gunpowder and I wait for the trade. If it never shows up, I never get it. There's the inversion, and that inversion played out, made equal highs right now. Stop would be moved to break even. And let's see if we get stopped out here. Stopped out at break even right there. So that was a stop out at break even trade for that aggressive long. If you guys are appreciating the commentary, if you're appreciating the insight, the lack of vulgar language, all that good stuff, hit me up with a like on the video, por favor. Charles, those are the best. At least you didn't get stopped out. So I will take profit. So on the inversion model, I go long. Long is there. If we make an equal high or we sweep the high, you move stop to break even. And if it gets stopped out, you get stopped out. The stop out rate on those trades is pretty high, but it at least protects your positions. Here's my trading chart, folks. Here's my screen. Nothing's happening over here. I haven't taken nothing. Nothing's happening. What's up, Adam? How you doing? I trade, it's on the top right corner, NQM 2025. That's the Nasdaq. This is the 1 minute chart. I want to see where this 30-minute closes. That's really what I'm interested in, is how does this 30-minute close? Do we get a sweep of liquidity? What do I call this? It's not a 1 hour sweep, but it's a 30-minute. I'm not opposed to going long. I'm not really. I just need to see more structure. I think we just got to be patient if we want to see that long, because it still could happen right here, drop down in the next 30-minute candle, and then it could move higher. Or it could just roll over, and we'll look at that too. Ricardo made $90. Way to go. Fireman. Sure. We have nothing going on right now. Gold. Let's take a look at gold. Let's start on a daily time frame. We're inside that volume imbalance. By the end of the day, we want to identify where it closes. Does it close above or inside that volume imbalance? Looking at the 4 hour. Sweep of liquidity here. 15-minute. Here's your 4 hour reversal model, or excuse the 4 hour reversal model. 15-minute fair value gap. It'd have been right there. We're seeing it sell off there. Finding support at the previous day high. So I would stay bullish unless we really sell off below the previous day low. Excuse me. Oh, that's upside down. So if we can't get below the previous day high, then you need to stay with a bullish bias to the upside. I see consolidation right now. There's nothing that's really grabbing my attention on the 5-minute. And if there's nothing on the 5-minute or 15-minute that's grabbing our attention, then I think then you really don't want to be trading the 1-minute on gold. I do like that support right there. I see this short term or a low resistance liquidity that it's running. If there's a chance for it to go long, the only place that I would go long is inside this 1-minute fair value gap. That's the only place that looks somewhat appealing. But I see this low resistance here. This looks nice for a long, especially if we get the sell-off on NQ. We should see this on gold. But how are you going to play that? The only way I would play this right there is us coming down to here and then going higher. That's the only way I'd want to potentially participate in that. All right, we closed bearish right here. 30-minute, drop down to the 3-minute. Is there a 3-minute fair value gap? There's no 3-minute fair value gap, so no opportunity to take a short from in here. We do have a breaker right here, but it's semi-consolidatory. I don't like that as much. So even still, I think we need some more information. We did drop down into that 15-minute fair value gap on ES, but not on NQ. Here's NQ. That fair value gap, in my opinion, failed, or it didn't. It gave us a partial. Relatively equal lows here. We still have this 1-minute fair value gap. I really do like this. I like this area right here. A lot of overlapping confluences right there. We talked about that in the beginning of the stream. 15-minute fair value gap, 5-minute fair value gap, 1-minute fair value gap. This is a breaker. This is a 15-minute order block. That's a bullish. So this is actually probably a 15-minute. We got an hourly and an hourly. The hourly order block is right here. So we have the 4-hour fair value gap is also the breaker. So price coming back down to tag this would be nice. Ricardo, why would he look at Dogecoin time frame? This is futures. I agree. I'm not going to do anything. The only three that maybe Tesla, because I like Tesla. Maybe Nvidia, but it's probably Nasdaq, ES, and gold are the three that I primarily look at. See that consolidation? We don't want to trade it. Even if we get a reaction move, I don't want to trade it. Even right now, we have an inversion with a small sweep of minor buy-side liquidity with an inversion. I don't want to trade it. I'm just not going to trade those anymore. Yeah, NVIDIA makes sense. I mean, NVIDIA is a big one. I do drive a Tesla. Yeah. I may end up selling it. My wife and I were having some discussions on our financial goals, and we want to own more assets, and there's a big price tag on a monthly payment for a Tesla. I could just pay cash a few $1,000s for a car and be okay with, you know, a Honda or a Subaru, and drive that and be totally fine. And there are no repairs on, there's hardly any repairs on Teslas. I haven't had to change my brakes in like three years. No oil changes. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Subarus. I've never owned one. I know, cheap cars are that way, but I mean, I'm paying $600 a month for a Tesla. If we cut that out, I could save more money that we could use to buy real estate. So, we'll see. We'll see. I do like the idea of not paying for any. I mean, I haven't paid for gas in 3 years. My wife drives it all the time too. So I really just need to do the numbers. See how much we're saving in gas, how much it costs for insurance, and the payment. Is it really worth getting another car? Also, as a realtor, I am a realtor. I fly at night as a day trader, and in my day job, I'm a realtor. It just real estate provides me a lot of opportunities. But having a nice car is important, unfortunately. People look at the car you drive and instantly make an impression on you. And unfortunately, if I'm going to be in that space, I do have to have something that appeals. You know what I mean? No, my wife got a flat tire last week. Oh, was that me? No, that was me. Yeah, I did get a flat tire last week, yeah. But you get flat tires on any car, you know? So you really can't count that as a cost. All right, so our hope is that around 11 o'clock we start seeing some displacement. Price is not showing a willingness to go higher right now. Do I think the 5-minute fair value gap will be a problem? It's, well, I don't know if I'm taking a short before it closes below that. Does that make sense? I probably would want to see it. I probably would want to see it close below it and then come back up to this breaker right there and then sell off. What about the opening candle fair value gap? That's also would be something that you'd want to watch for sure. No spare wheel? Yeah, I don't have a spare wheel. No. I would like a truck. Eventually I want to get a truck. I like fishing. I like hunting. And I really need a truck. All right, we touched the new day opening gap. I need to switch those around. Oh, we're 2 away from 100. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Let's hit 100 likes. PA has about another 43 points to Asia and previous New York high. Yes, it does. Hey, we hit it. Boom. Actually, we hit our highest number of people on stream at one time. I think we hit 170, so that's pretty sweet. Lexus, I don't know if I go for a Lexus or not. Toyota Avalon is like a Lexus, but economical. Yeah, but there's a difference between a Lexus logo and a Toyota logo. It's about how it impresses the clients. I mean, it really is. I mean, I remember the day I got my Tesla, and I was showing a client $1 million houses. And I show up, and the first thing, met him for the first time. He's never known what I've driven before, never did anything. And the first thing he says to me is like, nice car. That says something to a potential client. It's just the way, unfortunately, it is in the industry. If I wasn't in real estate and I wasn't in a car where I had to meet with people, then I don't care. All right, look at the small sweep of liquidity. Made equal highs here. We have an inversion right here. Let's see if it wants to run the low right now. ES has a nice sell-off right off the breaker. A nice reaction from that level. My guess is we'll probably get some type of movement here, but I could be wrong. I would have rather seen a little more exaggerated move higher to really sell the idea that we want to go long and then it just collapses. I would have preferred that. Maybe we still get that. I used to have an Audi. I did like it. You can't, it's very expensive for the repairs though. Sorry, I can't support you on your trading journey. I don't understand how people can ask those kind of questions. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like the idea of no car payment. This one is a used Tesla. This was a Model S though. It was a very nice car. Very low miles on it. It was used. Acura is one that I've considered, Danny. Acura, I like the way they look. It has a luxury feel to it, but you could probably get them fairly inexpensive. I haven't looked. So this is a recent conversation. We started talking about it yesterday, a couple days ago. Tellurides are a little round. I don't like them as much. A GX 460. Nice. For those of you sitting here wondering why is he talking about this, because there's nothing else going on right now. We are entering the macro session. So we, again, 30-minute sweep of liquidity. We were looking for a 3-minute entrance for an inversion. We don't have one yet. We may get one right here though. That looks good. Let's see if this 3-minute inversion stays open. Or 3-minute fair value gap stays open. Because that would be the 30-minute reversal right there. You would enter here. You'd place your stop just above this high. I have ES pulled up on my screen, on my trading screen. NQ doesn't look like anything here, so I may consider taking an entry here if it gives it to us. We swept that low, swept the low on ES. Right there. Don't want to be faked out for a move higher, so you gotta pay attention to that. The lack of NQ falling tells me a potential bullish move is coming. There's just nothing here for us to participate in on NQ. At least ES dropped down to this fair value gap. So if it inverses this, that's not a bad inversion to the upside. You just do run into a breaker. So I'm not seeing any correlation in price right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Is ES looks nice. It swept the London high, has a 30-minute sweep. We're inside the 3-minute fair value gap for it to go short, but NQ doesn't look like it's going short. It closed right at the midpoint of that 3-minute fair value gap. So we'll have to wait another 3 minutes to see how it closes. The 5-minute, that just looks nasty. I'm not taking anything on NQ in that. There's nothing to take, to be honest. This wick of a candle has kind of messed everything else up on NQ right now. All right, we have a 1-minute inversion. That's not bad for a long on ES, but I think the 3-minute is what I would be waiting for. And I'm not even 100% sure I want to take it, to be honest. That's the hourly. And look how the hourly could be closing. That's, yeah, I don't know if I want to take anything long. We'll see how this hourly closes. If ES stays inside of this 3-minute, that still could be a potential short. When would NQ fall, you think? 11 a.m.-ish? I don't know. We have to just wait and see. I'm done trading today, just watching and learning. Is there a way to predict when NQ would fall because ES is selling, but NQ has been... No, if NQ is holding and ES is not selling, ES is slowly selling, but we still haven't gotten a full signal that we are going short. We would get more of a signal depending on how this closes in 28 seconds, but it's still not, a guarantee. All right, it looks like it's going to close above this fair value gap. It's still respecting that breaker though. I think what I would want to see is this. On ES, if I'm going to take a long. I'd rather see this on NQ as manipulation, sweeping the liquidity all right here, and then see some aggression. At this point, there's only one thing to do. Wait until price leaves the range. 100%. I don't understand your question, Matteo. You want to be profitable, but I don't know really how the markets work or the strategy. So there's two things that you need to focus on. You need to learn a model and learn how price moves. And then the second thing you have to do is learn to manage yourself. I can help you with the first one. I can't help you with the second one as much. So violation of this 3-minute fair value gap potentially is going to play out. The reason why I'm not taking the 3-minute is I have this breaker right here. I want it to violate this breaker by moving higher and then coming back down and finding support at this bullish breaker right here on ES. That's how I'm looking at this right now. I also want to see it create an order block right here. This would be a 3-minute order block. We can go to the 5-minute and it would give us a 5-minute order block. It also will give us a 15-minute order block. That's going to be a big sign for a move higher. There's NQ's sweep of ES or of Asia highs. I'm going to have to wait for 11 a.m. If 11 a.m. comes and then we drop back down to this fair value gap, I would consider taking a long from here. At this point, I do see this as a violation of this breaker, so we'll delete that. The hourly is finally moving higher. We'll see how that moves. We have an hourly fair value gap that's overlapping with this 4-hour. We'll see if it wants to do that. NQ has hit the Asia highs. And we have low resistance all the way up to this breaker. So that would be the target on ES or on NQ for it hitting that breaker. It did give us an institutional order flow entry drill. I'm not excited about taking it from there. I really wanted it to come back down a little bit lower, but that could cause us to miss this trade. Do you see that institutional order flow entry drill? There's zero entry on NQ for a long. Nothing that I would want to take. ES, we had the 3-minute, but I didn't because we had a bearish breaker in line with a 30-minute reversal pattern. Here's 11 a.m. A lot of sitting, a lot of waiting, folks. I know. This is what I'm talking about. It's still a sloppy. It's still sloppy. No clean entries. And the trade that I took this morning, clean entry. I'm not willing to take something because I think it's going to go higher. Yeah, I mean, I don't care what the reason it's up. I like the idea of running this liquidity. That's what I want to shoot for. I just need it to drop into this fair value gap for me to participate in it. There's nothing on it on NQ that I can participate in. There's nothing here. If you see something, you tell me what it is, because I see nothing for a long on NQ. Oh, thank you, Orange fan. Yeah, this is disappointing. I guess it did tag London high. That could have been a signal. I just didn't have it all the way over. It came and touched this breaker to the downside, this low high, lower low. Finally closed above it, tagged the London high right there, and now pushing higher. We just swept some buy-side liquidity on NQ, 1 p.m. swing high. That was our PM session. yesterday, if we go to regular trading hours, there's regular trading hours. It swept that high. So this is yesterday's, Tuesdays. This is regular trading hour highs. That's a key level. See if we get a retracement there, and if this is the point where it wants to roll over, we'll see. But it's definitely looking bullish. On a higher time frame, at least on the 30-minute perspective. Let's see what it looks like on the hourly. On the hourly, also bullish. Include the electronic trading hours. This looks nice. Yeah, there's the... This is what I said on the 30-minute I wanted. I don't know why I wasn't looking at that. I think I still would have wanted it to come down to that fair value gap, and it never did. So we still just have to wait. It could still pump higher. Maybe it comes down a little bit more, taps that fair value gap, and we can move higher with it. That would be the fair value gap right there. That's a facts guy. That's the thing. It's like when you're in consolidation, it's a great location to get in. But when you're in consolidation, you don't know if it's going to go higher or lower. You don't know, period. You don't know if it's going to go higher or lower. Now you can have a good idea based on manipulation when you get the manipulation leg, but NQ never gave us any type of manipulation to signal one way or the other. I mean, there is almost no manipulation in this. I was just going to say we could consider going long right here. Nope, but I'm going to be patient and see if it wants to come back down a little bit. What is my higher target on ES? I think I might take a reaction trade on this breaker right here. You can't see it here. I'm going to take a reaction trade on that breaker. I'm going to go short right here. Let's see. For just 10 handles. See if it wants to give it to us here. Nope, I had a tight stop loss. So that breaker or that inversion or that breaker right here is what I tagged that to. And it said no. Yeah, I wish we were a part of this. It just didn't retrace. Even on ES. You could have done an order block entry right here, but that's it. You could have done an order block entry, but I don't do order block entries. I just don't. I wanted this with a fair value gap. If there was a fair value gap here, I would have taken that. Nothing. That sucks. All right, so now that we've seen absolutely nothing here, let me show you what I did see on here, that the reason why I took a trade earlier this morning. It started on the 30-minute time frame, and it was right here. I was waiting for, on the 30-minute, to sweep the 4-hour swing high, hit this 15-minute fair value gap or order block, and a fair value gap that was right here. And I wanted to see this candle at 7:30 close below this candle's high. That's what I wanted to see. So then I went into 8 o'clock, from 8 to 8:30. That's where, between 7:30 and 8:30, that's when I took, it was at 8:30 that I looked at taking the trade. So if we look at where 8:30 was at, here was 7:30, right? 7:30 swept the high, and then we swept the high again at 7:58, 59. Here's 8 a.m., and then we started seeing the sell-off, okay? I didn't chase this. I waited for it to come back up to the breaker. We got a high, low, higher high, or you could do this one, a high, low, higher high there. Either one, that was the entry right here. Okay, this was my entry for a breaker. Now, in regards to how far to answer, I think it's Ty's question. I don't know if you're still on here. Where is it? You asked T. I think it was T, not Ty. Yeah, T. I think you had the question. Good morning, Ted. If you're still on there, T, the way you look at it is you have a bunch of these fair value gaps right here. Which one is it going to come into? I look inside of this price leg up that makes the high, and I look for the fair value gap, and that's where this fair value gap comes in. So this fair value gap overlapped with this fair value gap here, so I was sure, I was okay with price reaching up for there, and it did, and then it came back down. It actually, I added one, my initial entry was right here. My initial entry was right about here. I set my stop at 20 handles. That was my stop. And then I got in for a second position when it rejected this high. And I got in roughly, probably right around here. I put my stop back there, and I got in for a second position here. And I sold right at the midpoint, or the equilibrium of the range, of the dealing range. So I got 36 handles on the first contract, and I got 45 on the second contract, because I added to it, especially when it went up into this fair value gap and rejected. That's when I took that second position, with the confidence that it reached up to that fair value gap. It had a decent reaction. Okay, price should start moving this way, and that's what happened. So when you look at the structure for here, when you see this and you see these higher time frame confluences, this is what we want to take. This is I had the confidence to add to my position. Not just, hey, let's just see what happens. When you compare that trade with what we've been seeing today, where do we see anything that gives us a remote confidence on what it's going to do? I just don't have that. Even this break, you could have said this breaker, but I wasn't trading at this time. I wasn't trading at 9:37. I don't trade at that time. So this would have been your only potential opportunity for a breaker that went long. 37, go long here, and then hold through all of this consolidation to see this nice big move. I'll probably get to that point at some day in my trading. I'm just not there right now. So the trades that I do take, they need to be very obvious for me to take. And if they're not going to show up, I'm learning to sit on my hands and not take a trade. I'm not going to waste my capital on frivolous trades. I was willing to try this breaker because I've done that many times and it works out. It typically would give us a 10 handle reaction. It didn't give us any reaction, so pretty bullish price action. So right now we're at the other breaker that I just marked out right there. And that one gave us a reaction. So I marked the wrong one. See that reaction right there? It was tagged to this breaker right here. High, low, higher high. Let's see. 562. 562.25. So it went higher by a tick. We reached up into a 30-minute fair value gap right here. Is there a 15-minute there? No 15-minute. Is there an hourly? No hourly. No 4-hour. We'll mark a 5-minute. And a breaker. So we just hit this breaker on the 5-minute right there. There's our reaction to that breaker so far. Here's the breaker, high, low, higher, high. Played out here, and it came back to it a second time. Had a reaction here. We'll see if it wants to sell off. Previous day's equilibrium point is right there. Previous day's high is right here. I'm going to be shocked if NQ runs for this level. Personally, just 2 days ago, we had NQ run for this level already. Or had a double break day. So right now, I'm waiting for, I would love to see it fail and then a market maker sell model. That's what I would love to see. I'll trade that. Oh! I want to take longs, guys. I really do. Don't know. I pretty much know. We've been waiting. I took a pre-market trade. But I think, folks, we'll probably call it a day here. It's been about 2 hours. I'll be back here tomorrow. but there's a chance we're going to have to wait till either the noon session or the PM session. That's probably one of the two. So I'm probably going to take a break, get up, come back, check the charts here in about 25 minutes, see what it's looking like. But I'm expecting some type of consolidation, or if it's going to make a move, it can go without me. But I just don't want to get faked out by a move lower prior to noon, because that's when I think we'll probably readjust on what it wants to do. So I'm going to take a break. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully you guys followed and managed your risk as I did. Pretty much sat at not doing anything. I took a little off screen, and I told you guys, a little off screen reaction trade to see if it would give it to us, and it didn't, so I got out. But that was peanuts. We're talking really tiny trade. So we'll be back here tomorrow, guys. God bless. Stay safe. Use the code DTJ for any prop firm accounts that you want. If there's one that you want to use and you're interested in, let me know. I might check it out. So God bless, guys. Stay safe. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.